Mr. Moore, how do you see the riverfront?
I love the riverfront right just like it is. You know, I'm sad to hear that we purchased a much larger boat for the river stage than what we've already got. I think we have a perfect setting down there right now. It is a big crowd favorite the way it is. I am opposed to bringing in a much larger, much taller boat that is going to block the view of people as they're sitting there watching the concerts and being able to see the boats go by. I don't think bigger is always better. I don't know why we always feel like we have to improve something. When you got something good, you hang on to it and you keep it. You don't have to constantly change things. The boat docks do need some repair work. I think it's nice to sit there and just see boat traffic going in and out along the river. We've got a little place up in Utica. I love to watch the barges go by. You know, we don't have to pour money into something in order to make it something nice for our community. We've already got that. The Greenway project does need to be finished. I'd like to see a little more accessibility for handicap to get down to the river stage now. I think the closest point is way further on up. But appreciate what you got. You know, this is a charming town. Why do we have to compete with Louisville, Cincinnati, and all of these bigger cities constantly? Let's appreciate what we've got. A beautiful view of the skyline of Louisville, 5 minutes away from all the cultural events you could want to go to, and yet we're 5 minutes away from our house. I love the riverfront as it sits right now. Sure, we need to draw more businesses into the surrounding areas, but let's not change the view of what we've got.
Thank you all. Let me throw in a question here, with the permission of the Rose Hill residents. What would each of you say is the role of a city government vis-a-vis private investment in improving a downtown area? Mr. Vissing, we'll start again with you.
Well, I would always like for it to be private development. I don't like big government, and for instance, talking about the boat docks. I lived on the river for 14 years, and it's hard to do. The river's awfully tough on those sort of things, and I would prefer that the slip renter be responsible for that boat slip every year, because sometimes it's an every year process to replace that. So, but I think that private enterprise should always trump the business getting involved. Or, government getting involved.
All right. Mr. Galligan, the role of city government in private progress, if you will, or development.
City government's role is to try to help facilitate doing things, whether it be help encourage or give tax abatement to someone who is making a huge investment in your community. Whereas when before you might have gotten $10,000 a year in taxes, if you give them an abatement in 10 years, you're going to get 25 or 30. That's an investment. It didn't cost you anything, because without that, they probably wouldn't have made the investment. So you encourage investment. You try to put people with properties where they want to put their businesses. And we have a revolving loan fund that we help people with. And you do it. We have bankers who make the decisions, not us. And we just try to help facilitate good business people to make good business decisions to help downtown. And that's very important to downtown, and it's where we do it everywhere. It has to be a win for the business, and it has to be a win for the city. If you have one gaining more advantage than the other, it's not a good deal and it won't work.
Ms. Perkins, your view of the division of private and public partnership.
Are you specifically talking about downtown or just all of the city?
I suppose we could expand it to all of the city.
All right. Well, first of all, I think it's a slippery slope when government gets involved in that arena. It really bothers me when cities use eminent domain to take people's properties. Because you can, according to the Supreme Court of the United States, you cannot turn back around and the city cannot turn back around and sell that property. That was ruled illegal through the Supreme Court. So, with that said, I think that the role of government in bringing industry or merchants to our community is very similar to what Mayor Galligan said. It's to provide incentives via any legal means that you can to attract the types of businesses that you want. Again, I'm going to go back to that big plan. We've got to decide what we want our community to look like. And I don't know that we need another drugstore. It's nice to have businesses opening, but do we need another drugstore? We need a plan to decide what we want and go after those businesses. And you have to sell your city. I spent 40 years in a school corporation, and I had to sell my schools over and over and over. And you've got to make it attractive, not only monetarily, as the mayor said, but you've got to make it attractive by going out there and saying, we've done this in our community, we want a business like yours, we'll open our arms to you, we're looking for a business like yours, please come and look us over. And then you set up the right people at the table, you let them know what you're going to, school system. We need to talk about our school system.
Thank you.
Okay.
Former Mayor Ways?
The government needs to be involved with the private sector. They need to be there to help out with tax abatements. They need to be there to help out with grants. And if you don't, businesses are going to go elsewhere. We were able to go ahead whenever I was mayor to actually get a $5 million grant for the tech park up in Northport. Without those funds, we wouldn't have been able to brought in MedVenture. And probably with that, MedVenture, Heartland Payment Systems decided to move there along with MedVenture. So along with getting all that, moving in the right direction, thanks to government dollars, we have a very nice tech park. It's employing a lot of people. And that's the key to a good city, is to make sure that we have good employment, offering good jobs. So it's vital that government works with the private sector.
Commissioner Moore, how does this look to you, this division?
Your progress is going to come from private dollars. It should not come from government dollars. The government dollars are all of ours. I don't like the idea, for instance, of the river stage, the new one. Our tax dollars are going to be competing against companies who already have a private facility for banquets. I think it's unfair that some of the banquet halls are having to compete against something that they're basically paying taxes to support with a reception ring down there on the river. Your government's involvement needs to be there. You have to entice businesses to come. But businesses also look at sewer rates, tax rates, schools. You know, before they relocate in your area, they want to know the quality of life, the cost of life, and what's offered there. I don't believe you put the city government out there and tripling sewer rates is not going to entice new businesses to come to Jeffersonville. You've got to make it affordable for the people that work in those plants or factories or whatever you're trying to bring in. You want those to live in your community. You want them involved with your community. Who in the world is going to want to come to Jeffersonville when they see the sewer rates are tripling? I want to see progress just like everybody else, but you have to stay inside your means in order to do it. I believe our government has taken on too much debt. Our debt is continually growing for the city of Jeff. And I think we've gotten to a point where we don't look as attractive to new companies coming in. And you look at 10th Street and you see all of the businesses closing up. I, for one, can tell you how much that sewer rate increase is hurting my restaurant. I can tell you it's hurting my employees. People are less apt to come out to eat when you have the cost of living as high as it is. So not only does government have to get involved, but they also know when they need to back off.